Today, an absolute national favorite, garlic bread stuffed crust pizza. We're gonna take it to that next level, just a simple pepperoni pizza, but the crust is what makes this special. Stay tuned. This is so easy to make. We're gonna make everything from scratch today too. We're gonna make our dough, we're gonna make our sauce, and again, not gonna make our pepperoni and cheese, but everything else is gonna be made from scratch, and again, in no time. So easy to make, lots expensive having delivered too. So let's start with our dough because we're gonna have to let that rise. So let's start by making that, and then we'll get into our sauce. Okay, let's start with our dough. So simple to make, only 7 ingredients. Let's start with flour. So we have just all-purpose flour, about 2.5 cups in here. Now I start with about 2.25 cups and then see how the consistency looks. Then I can always add a little more flour if I need to. But again, starting with 2.25 cups of just all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add sugar. We're gonna add some oregano. Give it that nice sharp taste in the crust. It's perfect. And remember, these are just our dry ingredients. Kosher salt. And then 1 package of instant yeast. Now, make sure it's instant yeast. It's not quick rising yeast. It's gotta be instant yeast, otherwise this will take forever. So again, 1 package instant yeast, and we add that in. All right. Now we're gonna go ahead and just stir these dry ingredients together. And again, we're just trying to get these to combine. You don't have to do this too extensively, pretty simple. Okay. Now for the wet ingredients. And to do this, we're going to use our KitchenAid, okay, with our dough hook attachment. Again, you don't have to do this. You can still mix this by hand if you like to, but this is a little bit quicker. You can also use any type of food processor as well. Whatever you have, whatever's easiest. So we'll start with the KitchenAid. Okay, so now all the dry ingredients are in here. Now we're going to add our wet ingredients, okay, and we're going to start by adding 2 cloves of garlic that I've already minced, save some time. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. And now lastly, and this is an important step, water. So about 3/4 cup of water, but remember that water has got to be in that 110-degree range. You don't want it too cool, you don't want it too hot, otherwise it won't activate the yeast or it will kill the yeast off if it's too hot. So make sure you keep that water about 110 degrees. We're going to pour the water in. Drop the mixer down and put it on just stir. Now, I'm going to go ahead and start there, let this start to thicken up, and then we can determine whether or not we have enough flour in there. It's a little too sticky, but again, we'll do that at the end. That's why, again, I like to put all the flour in from the very beginning. You can always add a little bit more flour, but or a little more olive oil or water if it's too dry. But let's take a look here as this starts to thicken up. And you're only going to let this run for a couple minutes, and that's all you need to do to get the dough where you need it. Keep going there, and we're getting there. Mix, mix, mix. This really is an actually easy recipe to make, especially with the dough. And remember, you don't have to make this just for pizza dough. You could use this dough for anything. You can make a lot of different things with it. But I love it for pizza dough because it's simple. All right, and that should be good. Get our mixer up here. Take our dough hook off. We'll take our dough off the hook here. And let's actually just see our dough here. And again, this is perfect. This is exactly how the dough should be. So we're going to put this actually back into this container, because I'm just going to put this container right into our oven and let it proof right in the mixing bowl. No reason to dirty another bowl. But before I do that, take the bowl off. Let's move the KitchenAid out of the way here. And I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to put it over the top of it. And the reason we do that is for a couple reasons. One, this way it won't stick to the container, but also as the yeast starts to activate, it's going to start drying out. And so this will also keep moisture locked in and just makes it much easier. I've found this is the best way to make this. So your favorite plastic wrap, hopefully you can find one that has an easy way to be able to get it out of the box. We'll put that plastic wrap, because again, you want to try to keep as much of that moisture in here as you can. Now, do you have to put plastic wrap? No. You could use a wet towel, right? A damp towel keeps moisture in there. You could do that as well. But I think plastic wrap works just as well. And again, just simple to use, easy. But we're going to put this in our oven about 45 minutes. It's going to double in size. But we're going to come back and start making our pizza sauce. Okay, we're going to start by dicing up 1 onion here. Again, you can use a white onion, yellow onion, it doesn't really matter, but 1 onion. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we're going to saute these onions in a little bit of olive oil. Next step. So we're going to take a little bit of olive oil, a couple teaspoons, put it in here with the onions. Low heat, low to medium heat, I should say, probably is a better way to put it. Okay, we're going to keep stirring these. And again, when we're doing this, what we don't want to do is let these onions get overcooked. We don't want them to get too dark. We want them to just get a nice color on them. Then we'll add the rest of our ingredients. Now we're going to add 3 cloves of garlic in here. Stir this up. Okay, we'll let this go for a few minutes here. Just looking to get it until we get a nice fragrance, right? Get that garlic, that onion smell just kind of permeating from the pot, and then we'll add our next ingredient. We're not wasting time here because our dough is still proofing, so we're able to do 2 of these things at one time. Then we can get everything in the pan and start making our pizza. Okay, so now we have our onions, our garlic, right where we want them. It smells just incredible. We're gonna go ahead and add tomatoes. So a couple different ways you can go here with the tomatoes. Again, if you're going to do this, San Marzano tomatoes is what you really should use. Again, they come from the San Marzano region of Italy. They're perfect for this type of sauce. Again, you can get different types of brands, but I like Cento. I think it's just a great brand. And again, you can use this for just about anything. So, and a couple things. We're not just going to dump them in there because they're whole tomatoes, right? They're peeled, but they are whole. So we're actually going to take them and I'll dump off a little bit of the sauce, but as I'm dumping in the whole tomatoes, I'm just going to squish them with my hand. Now, again, you can do this once they're in here with the wooden spoon, but I'd rather do it with my hand. It's just much easier. Okay, and this, by the way, is a 28-ounce can, so just 1 large can of the San Marzano tomatoes. Let's clean our hands off a little bit here. Now, let's mix that in. Look how good that looks. So now that we have those in here, let's add a little bit of tomato paste, and again, I've lately been using just tomato paste like this. It's just so easy out of this little toothpaste type container. So simple to use. Store at room temperature, it's perfect. So, about 2 tablespoons. A little bit of oregano. Sugar. Mix that up a little bit. A little salt and pepper. Salt and pepper in there as well. Now, some red pepper flakes. You don't have to put this in here, but I like to put a little bit, just a little bit more flavor in there. It goes so well with the garlic, and it's going to be great with the smoothness of the cheese, so in the crust, so it's just perfect. And then lastly, just a little bit of balsamic vinegar, about 2 tablespoons. And again, a good quality balsamic vinegar is never a bad thing. If you look when I'm pouring this, how thick it is, a good quality balsamic vinegar is absolutely a necessity. Don't skimp on that. It should almost be somewhere between liquid and like a maple syrup consistency. That's what you're looking for from a good balsamic. Now, we have everything in here. We're going to bring this just a light boil, and then we'll go ahead and let this simmer for about 30 minutes or so once we get to that boil, and then we'll come back and our pizza should be ready at that point. All right, so sauce is done. The dough is now done. And again, you got a nice ball here. It's doubled in size. So now we're going to go ahead and stretch this out. We'll put a little bit of flour down on our wood surface here. We're going to go ahead and stretch this dough out and get it to the size we want for our pizza. And remember, we're going to stuff this crust. So we need to make this about 2 inches bigger than our pizza will end up being so that we can fold the ends up so it's the right size. So just remember that you're going to have to make it a little bit bigger than you actually will end up, your pizza will end up being. So, and what I like to do as well is as I'm doing this, I will also make sure that I, leave the outsides a little bit thinner, in the middle a little thicker, so you don't have a pizza that when you pick up the piece of pizza it droops down. Middle should be a little bit thicker. We're just going to keep moving this thing around here. The pizza pan that we're using today is 14 inches, so this is going to need to be close to 16 inches, but again, we don't have to fill up the whole pan, but it's going to have to be close to that size. You also know when your dough is just about ready to go as far as the yeast is, when you can stretch this thing out and it doesn't spring back, so you know the yeast is activated and the dough is ready to go. See behind me, the Weber smoke fire is up and running because we're going to cook this on the smoke fire. Put a little bit of smoke on this. I think it'll be another great flavor. And so just another way we're going to add something to this, add to this cook. And while we're doing this, Hope you're enjoying this video. If you are, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit those post notification bells so you get notified when we put a new video out, which is every week. And remember, don't worry about any of the ingredients or the specifications or any of that. Everything is in the description down below, like with every video. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna get it on our pizza pan here, and we'll start stuffing the crust. Okay, so we have it on our pizza pan, and so it's basically just have a standard pizza pan you can buy, and I'll put everything I use today is going to be on the description down below, so you can get this, pick this up on like Amazon. A pizza pan, but I put a piece of parchment paper in between. I like parchment paper. It's not going to stick to the pan anyway, but it's just easier to get on and off when it comes out of the oven, so it's just simpler. So I like using the parchment paper. So we'll start working on that crust. For the crust, scissors. I use these. It's just the easiest way to do it. And what you're going to do here, it's real simple. You're going to take normal cheese sticks that everybody kind of grew up eating. I'm using pepper jack cheese today because, again, just anytime I can impart a little more flavor, never a bad thing. And I'm going to take these cheese sticks and I'm going to cut them into thirds. So I get 3 pieces out of each one. Okay? I'm going to take one of these cheese sticks, and this is what we're going to put in the crust. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. So we're going to take our crust here and we're going to make a cut. Another cut that's about the same size as our piece of cheese. And then a small cut on each side of that. Yeah, you figure about 2 inches is pretty good here. Okay. Once you have that, you can take your cheese stick. You're going to put it in between. You're going to roll that up, push it down, and then take your 2 ends here and just roll them right over. Just like that. Simple. And we're just going to repeat that step all the way around the pizza. Now, granted, I understand this is somewhat time-consuming to do it this way. You could obviously just simply stuff the crust. But I like this as just another kind of cool and fun way to give you a different look on your pizza. And so you should have these little, basically these little tubes as we go around. And those, when they're finished, they're going to come out, they're going to look so cool when we're done. So let's just continue what we're doing here and go all the way around. Let's cut a few more pieces of cheese for us here to use. You could use a knife for this as well. You don't have to use the scissors. Scissors are just easier. And you can see some of these strips are going to be a little larger than the others. It's fine. No perfect way to do this. And again, you don't have to use pepper jack cheese. Feel free to use whatever cheese you want. You could use cheddar. Just regular mozzarella is fine. That's what, again, I think most people would probably go to kind of their go-to cheese for a pizza. But I think adding pepper jack or even a jalapeno cheese or Monterey Jack, just something with a little bit of bite, just adds a little bit extra into it, and that's never a bad thing. I'm thinking 2 more here, and I think we got it. And there we go. Now I'll go down and I'll just kind of push this down a little bit on each one here, just to make sure they're nice down into the crust itself, just so they don't come apart, or not as much when you're cooking them. May still come apart a little bit, but try to limit that. All right, and let's get that kind of shaped the way we want to. So before we put our sauce on, one thing I am going to do is put a little bit of olive oil in the center. Again, this is just really going to help this crust brown a little bit. Also put a little bit on the edges here as well. How about that sauce we made earlier? And this sauce just looks so good. It's so good. We're going to go ahead and just spoon that sauce in the center here. Now, the amount of sauce you put here is totally up to you. If you want to put a little more, a little less, if you like a little more sauce, like a kind of a light sauce, then don't put as much sauce on here. I've got some freshly grated mozzarella. So let's put some of that in here, because we're definitely going to want that on here. And there we go. Again, don't worry about the mess. You can't mess one of these up. Now pepperoni. Remember, we're just making a pepperoni pizza here, just simple versus making something with a lot of toppings. But again, put whatever toppings you want on here. You want to put some sausage, put some sausage. You want to put some onions and bell peppers or some mushrooms, put those on there. I'm just going to make a pepperoni pizza because I think it's simple. My family likes it, so easy. I'm going to just take some sliced pepperoni here. And remember, you're not paying for extra pepperoni, so don't skimp here. Your delivery pizza place is going to go ahead and charge you more for everything here. We're not going to do that in this case, so load up the pepperoni if you want to, and I like to do that. And I apologize because the wind outside today is blowing about 30 miles an hour. So if you're hearing some of that noise, I am sorry. There we go. And so now that we have the pizza, basically topped, crust is done, we're going to take a little bit of Parmesan And this is Romano, so Parmesan Reggiano cheese on here. We're going to add this on here as well if the wind doesn't blow it completely off the pizza. Now you can put this on and a little more mozzarella when you put the mozzarella on, but I like to do it kind of at the top. I want to get a little bit of essentially extra cheese on there. And there we go. How good does that look? Simple, easy, quick. This does not take that long. Sure, the dough has to rise. Sure, you have to make your sauce, but it's well worth it. And again, the smoke fire is about 425 right now. We're going to run that at 425 for about 15 to 20 minutes. I always think about 17 to 18 minutes is kind of that sweet spot, but I'm going to check it after about 15 minutes just to make sure it's going to where we want to, and it's not overcooking. So let's get that on the smoke fire and let's see what we have when it's done. Whoa, look at that. Look how good that looks. Wow. Cheese is nice melted on the top. Almost have a little bit of a crust on it. Just perfect. Again, gonna have some cheese leaking out of the sides here. That's never a bad thing. Don't worry about that. But it just looks incredible and it smells just great. Wow, that is just unbelievable. So, but we're not done. Got a little bit of butter here mixed with some garlic and some more oregano. We're gonna go ahead and just give a little bath to the crust here in this. How could that be bad? You can just hear it sizzling on here as well. Wow. It also adds just a nice little shine to it as well. Wow, how good does that look? So here's what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, and this is why I said, remember about the parchment paper. So easy to get this off of here. Now I'm gonna do here, so it looks nice and pretty here. We'll cut off some of these excess pieces of cheese on the outside, but we're not gonna let them go to waste. Oh, wow. So good. Slide our pizza off. Wow, how good does that look? Let's take a bite of this. So I went ahead and cut it up in individual pieces, and again, looks so good. It's still pretty hot, so it's gonna be a little hard to handle. So, hot. So good. Get the taste of the garlic bread, that pepperoni, all that cheese is so good. And that sauce, guys, that sauce is so easy to make. It's incredible, and you can use it for so many different things. I would recommend, if you make anything from this recipe, make the sauce, because again, you can use it for just about anything. So again, hope you enjoyed this video. Something you can easily make at home. Our goal here, obviously, is to help you be able to make more things at home, and also outside. You know, get outside and make it out. You know, in a barbecue, whether it's just a charcoal barbecue or a gas barbecue, whatever. So much more fun cooking outside than it is inside the kitchen. We could have made this inside, but there's no reason to do that. Make outside, it's a lot more fun. So again, other than the 70-mile-an-hour winds. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like our video, subscribe to our channel, make sure you don't forget to hit that post notification bell so you get notified whenever our videos are uploaded, which again, are every week. Remember, don't worry about the recipes, specifications, equipment we use today. Everything is in the description down below, down to the cameras we're using to shoot this video. So if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and make sure you don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and our other social media channels, including our website. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. Remember, with IQ Barbecue, everyone can be a genius in the kitchen. Let's get back to this pizza, and I gotta leave some for the family, but I'm gonna eat a lot of this. Have a good day. Oh wow, this is so good.